Good morning, everyone. This is Russell Rucker, and I'm here for another constitutional talk. You know, many of us have a love-hate relationship with government. As government can be powerful, it can help us, but it can also stomp on us. And a mistrust of government can be healthy at times, but it can also be harmful. Now, the other day, we entered into a government shutdown. A lot of people are going to be laid off, temporarily furloughed, however it's decided to deal with things. But I want you to understand a couple things, so I'm going to start today with Washington's farewell address in a specific section. The execution of these maximums belongs to your representatives, but it is necessary that public opinion should cooperate. To facilitate to them the performance of their duty, it is essential that you should practically bear in mind that towards the payment of debt, there must be revenue. That to have revenue, there must be taxes. That no tax can be devised which are not more or less inconvenient and unpleasant. That the intrinsic embarrassment inseparable from the selection of the proper objects, which is always the choice of difficulties, ought to be decisive motive for the candid construction of the conduct of the government in making it, and for the spirit of acquiescence in the measures for obtaining revenue which the public exigencies may at any time dictate. And there, George Washington, in his farewell address, gives us what I really think is the best example of why we need revenue, why we need taxation. And I know there's plenty of people that don't like taxation, and they'll talk about the Federal Reserve, they'll talk about income tax and property tax, and nobody really likes to pay taxes. And for the first 150 years, we funded the government on excise and duties. So with our Constitution, and I want to bring you to Section 1, Article 1, Section 7. A bill for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills. And that's directly from the Constitution, which is scrolled in my book, Textualism and Originalism in Our Constitutional Republic. So the House begins with a budgetary responsibility, and it is their prime responsibility to work out a budget every year. We've gotten away from this, passing continuing resolutions that go on for 6 months, sometimes a few weeks, sometimes a year, and then we're rehashing later because we can't seem to come to an agreement. But what's supposed to happen is the House passes a budget, it goes over to the Senate, and the Senate has a right to, as the Constitution says, to offer amendments to the budget. And if the Senate agrees to changes, to amendments, and passes forward another budget, then it goes to a conference committee. So both the House and the Senate have to convene and work out the differences in the two past budgets. Nothing becomes law until it's taken to the president's desk and he signs it, obviously. So when they can't come to a conclusion, and it comes to the end of the fiscal year, and the government runs out of funds to pay their bills, just like if you ran out of money to pay your credit card bill. all of a sudden, cuts have to happen. Cuts have to occur. Something has to be done in order to continue government. Now, government is necessary for any free people. We must have government. Doesn't mean we need any overburdens in government, but there has to be some sense of government, or you have total anarchy in the streets. And we can't have that, of course. So we must have government. We must have the House and Senate pass a budget. The president must sign it. These are things that have to happen in order for a continuation of government. Government shutdowns didn't really happen for about the first 200 years of our republic because they managed to agree that no side gets everything they want. I mean, that's the purpose of compromise and working together, is that you get some of what you want, they get some of what they want, and we work together and we form a budget that it might not be perfect, but it's the budget for the next year. There's always next year. The current shutdown, who knows how long it will last? Who knows how painful it will be? I sure don't. But I understand the process of government and why it's important to go through and actually achieve a budget. A budget is necessary to pay expenditures and decide where the money is spent. Whether it's on defense, whether it's on social programs, whether it goes to pay debt, that we have quite a bit of debt in this country, in the tune of somewhere around $30 trillion, I believe. It's a lot of money. So we have to manage our debt the same way as you would have to manage a credit crunch. And if you're carrying a balance on a credit card, for instance, then you have to find a way to manage that debt. You're going to have to make payments on that debt. And that's the same thing the U.S. government is doing. They're making payments on the debt, and they're choosing where to spend the resources that they have. Our debt actually was nearly paid off prior to the Civil War. Hamilton had a real brilliant plan to pay 3% a year, and it was mocked, but eventually we knocked down the debt. But wars are expensive to fight, and we have debt from the Civil War, we have debt from World War I and World War II, and we have debt from just simple overspending. The war on poverty, the amount that's been spent is an enormous sum of money. So we have debt that has to be taken care of. And like Washington says in his farewell address, there is no revenue source, no tax, that will not be inconvenient to the people of the country. Hopefully, we get this impasse resolved, and hopefully, by the time this video airs, we're back to normal. But that's not a guarantee. And we have to be patient and allow our elected officials to work out a budgetary solution to this impasse. Just as we've done in about 21 government shutdowns that we've had since around 1975. So we've gone through quite a few presidents here that have had to deal with government shutdowns, from Carter to Reagan, the Bushes, first Trump administration, Biden and Obama, all had government shutdowns. So we've been here before. But keep in mind, all spending must begin in the House. And the Senate must concur on that spending, and we have to work together to come up with a budget. And a lot of times the president will get involved, and he'll call for meetings in the Oval Office to try to work out differences. But if they can't work out a difference, this is what happens. The government comes to a screeching halt. Some things will get paid because law dictates that certain things must be paid. Because we have to keep the doors open. And no matter how much you hate government, you love government, it really doesn't matter. Government is important, and we must have some semblance of government. And with that, I wish you a good day. We'll catch you next time on the next Constitutional Talk. Bye for now, folks.